Okay, let's get into this. We're doing a deep dive today, and it's not just about, the nuts and bolts of writing. It's about the mindset, how to actually be a writer, feel confident about it, write without fear.
Exactly. And we're pulling from William Kenower's book, Fearless Writing, How to Create Boldly and Write with Confidence.
Right.
And this book, it's less about sentence structure, more about your head, the internal world of it, how you actually create something that, well, only exists in your head before you put it down.
Yeah, the internal journey. So our mission here is basically to pull out the key ideas, the things that can help you shift.
Yeah.
Shift from feeling, I don't know, stuck or even scared to actually writing with freedom, maybe even enjoying it.
Definitely enjoying it. And it starts, Kenower says, with the absolute foundation, confidence. But here's the twist, maybe. He argues confidence isn't something you learn, like craft. It's something you have.
Have, like, already.
Yeah, like balance. Think Aikido. It's always there,
Yeah.
available. You just have to find it, choose to rest in it.
Okay, that feels different. We always talk about building confidence.
Right. But this view is it's there. The work is finding it, maybe uncovering it. And the book's pretty clear. Writing can't really happen, not effectively anyway, until you find that confidence within yourself. It's personal.
Nobody else can give it to you.
Exactly. And when you are there in that confident state, that's what he calls the flow.
The flow, that state where you just disappear into the work.
Totally. Lost in the story, the world fades away. That's where fearless writing happens because, well, fear and writing in flow,
They can coexist.
they're incompatible states. You can't be lost in creation and terrified of judgment at the same time.
So the good news is you probably know this state already. You've been there.
Almost certainly, maybe writing, maybe something else creative, so you know how to write fearlessly on some level. The challenge, Kenower says, is doing it on purpose.
Right, because flow isn't always, like, logical. It's not a formula.
No, it's not science. You have to believe it's there, trust it, even when you're not feeling it right that second. Choose to work from that place of confidence you already possess.
Okay, so confidence is the foundation. But what's the big thing that knocks us out of it?
Yeah, the main obstacle. The book nails it.
Worrying what other people will think.
Absolutely. The second you think about becoming an author, even just sharing with one friend, let alone publishing, things change.
You lose that total privacy of your imagination.
And suddenly you start craving validation. Will the agent like it? The editor? Readers?
Does it even count if no one approves? That kind of spiral?
It's a powerful feeling, for sure. But here's the counter Kenower offers. Writing, the act itself, is always solitary. No matter who might read it later, when you're choosing the words, crafting the sentence, it's just you.
Your only guide right then is your own curiosity, your imagination.
Exactly. So the advice is to write fearlessly, on purpose. You have to forget all that external stuff while you are writing.
Forget the critics, the praise, the market,
Hmm?
just for now.
Right. No one's looking over your shoulder in that moment. Deal with the rest later. Focus inward.
Okay, so we're alone, trying to ignore the fear. How do we know if we're even going in the right direction then, without that external compass?
Kenower has this idea of an internal guidance system, and it's based on feeling first. The core idea is that readers connect with what it feels like when something happens in a story, not just the events themselves.
Like the emotion of a scene sticks with you more than the plot point sometimes.
Precisely. And for the reader to feel it, the writer has to feel it first. If you don't know what your character feels like or the mood of a scene, the book argues you don't really know it yet. You have to connect with the feeling.
So feelings act like a compass. If it feels good, sort of effortless, like flow,
Yeah.
you're on track.
Yes. Writing is supposed to feel like discovery, like it's coming through you. Discomfort, though, that's a signal. But you need to know what kind of discomfort.
Okay, tell me more about that. Different kinds.
Yeah, there's the discomfort of wrestling with the story itself, finding the right word, figuring out a scene. It might be frustrating, but it doesn't kill your interest, right?
Right, it's part of the puzzle.
That's the guidance system saying, maybe not this way, try something else.
But then there's the other kind.
Yeah, that really lousy feeling, the self-doubt stuff. Is this any good? Am I just wasting my time? Kenower calls that the vampire.
The vampire of writing. Huh.
Because it just drains all the energy, the enthusiasm. That feeling is a huge red flag that you've left the story and gotten lost in fear about external judgment.
Which leads right into another big idea. Write what you love. Sounds simple, but
But it's powerful Because
Yeah.
it feels effortless, doesn't it? Your attention just goes there naturally. You don't have to make yourself interested.
It's not about market trends or what you think you should write. It's about what genuinely grabs you.
And the book frames love as the engine of creativity. It's the opposite of fear. Following what you love is just easier than forcing yourself to care.
That story he tells about the student, the one who wanted to write about, Kung Fu Pirates.
Right. The student felt embarrassed because a friend laughed, but Kenower just asked, are they silly or are they cool? And the student just lit up, talking about them swinging from masts, doing kicks.
His own genuine interest shone through. That was the point.
Exactly. That passion, that love for the idea, that's the energy, that's what readers connect with ultimately. Forget what others think of the concept itself.
Okay, building on that, Kenower also pushes back against thinking in terms of good and bad writing.
Yeah, he finds that whole framework unhelpful, especially when you're actually writing. The question to ask yourself isn't, is it good, but is it accurate?
Accurate, how do you mean? Accurate to what?
Accurate to the feeling, the idea, the image you had in your imagination. Does the stuff on the page actually capture that internal sense?
Okay, so is it any good?
Yeah.
Is it usually just code for?
What will other people think?
Exactly.
Which yanks you right out of the flow.
And the fact that critics and readers disagree wildly all the time kind of proves there's no universal good, right?
Totally. Taste is subjective. So the goal isn't to hit some external target of good. It's to develop your own aesthetic sense.
Your own internal compass.
Yes. Notice what works for you, what resonates with you, both when you read and when you write. That felt sense of accuracy, that's your guide. There are no sins in writing, he says. Nothing's wrong just because someone else wouldn't do it that way.
But okay, eventually you do show your work. You get critiques, maybe join a workshop. How do you handle that without, letting the vampire back in?
Yeah, critiques can definitely sting. It's that moment where you're just holding your breath, waiting for the verdict. But they can be useful if you approach them differently.
So instead of hearing, this is bad, what should you listen for?
The book suggests reframing comments like, this is boring, or I don't get it. It's not necessarily a judgment on you or the core idea. Often it just means,
I can't see what you're showing me.
exactly, I don't see what you're pointing at. Something got lost in translation from your head to the page.
So the focus and feedback should be on clarity. Where wasn't it clear, not was it good?
Right. And also acknowledging preference and being kind to yourself. If you don't understand a piece of feedback, it doesn't mean you're dense. The connection just wasn't made.
This connects to another point he makes, that stories are interpretations of facts, not just the facts themselves.
Oh, yeah. The example with his son, Sawyer, and the GED score. The score itself, the number, that was a fact.
But the story Sawyer told himself about the score, I'm stupid, that was the real issue.
That interpretation, that story, was way more powerful and limiting than the fact itself. The stories we tell ourselves matter hugely.
And speaking of stories, he talks about 3 narrative arcs: physical, emotional, and
Intentional.
yeah, the intentional arc.
Hmm?
It's different from the plot, physical arc, or the character's feelings. Emotional arc.
So what is it? It's like the story's core desire, the deep down reason it's being told. It's often something the writer feels more than plans out, an underlying current.
And it's about the difference between 2 feelings.
Yes. Like, a classic romance might have a physical arc, they meet, they date, and an emotional arc, their hopes, fears. But the intentional arc might be about the shift from feeling unworthy of love to feeling inherently worthy, or from self-rejection to self-acceptance.
Wow, that's a deeper level, a feeling, not just an event.
And these intentional arcs, they're often universal. Lots of stories share the same one, like memoirs about finding self-worth. But your voice, your specific telling, makes it new. You don't need a unique arc, just the one that feels true to you.
Which makes sense if you think about why writers really share their work, especially from that flow state. It's not just for money or fame, is it?
Probably not, deep down. It's about sharing that felt truth, that meaningful shift, that resonance with others, sharing the gift of the flow experience itself.
Okay, let's talk about discomfort again, creative discomfort. Kenower says it's not always bad.
Not at all. It's part of the guidance system. Like if you find yourself complaining, really hating what you're writing, he says that's usually short-lived, and it means you must love its opposite.
Ah, so hating something points you toward what you do want.
Exactly. It's like physics. The dislike clarifies the preference. It helps you find your way back to what you love, what feels right. You work with it.
What about rejection letters, though? Those feel pretty objectively bad.
They feel like solid proof someone didn't like it right, and almost every writer gets them. But the book stresses, don't give away your power. Don't let external opinions validate or invalidate you. Your love for the story is enough evidence.
And procrastination, the ultimate writerly sin.
He reframes that too. Not as laziness usually. Often it's your gut, your writer's instinct, trying to avoid something unpleasant.
Like trying to force something you don't actually care about, or maybe just avoiding the fear of it not being good enough.
Exactly. Your system is saying, whoa, this path feels bad, or this feels risky. It's guidance away from effort or fear.
And tied into that fear is the whole talent myth.
Oh, yeah. The idea that some people are just magically born creative and others aren't. He argues creativity isn't like divvied up unevenly. It's the mix of curiosity and imagination. Everyone has those.
So the difference isn't talent, it's interest.
Pretty much. He uses that example of the student who wrote a technically great story but wasn't interested in writing more versus his own teenage self writing weird fantasy stories just because he was interested, compulsively so.
It wasn't about who was better, but who had that deep, driving interest in the act of writing.
Right. Focus on your interest, not some idea of how much talent you have or don't have.
The book also describes writing as listening.
Yeah, like an improv conversation. With your imagination, the muse, whatever you want to call it, you don't know exactly where it's going until you start writing.
Because the idea in your head is fuzzy, abstract, but words on the page are specific.
Exactly. You have to be present, listen to what comes up, allow yourself to be surprised. And that's why fear creeps in when you're not writing. You're trying to predict the future of something you can only discover as you create it.
So security, creative potential is found in the present moment.
Yeah.
Paying attention to what you're actually doing right now.
Yes. Trusting the process, listening to that inner potential, not needing all the answers up front.
Okay, zooming out a bit, how does all this connect to writing as a career?
Well, Kenower contrasts it with other jobs. You can be successful at a job you just tolerate, right?
Sure.
But he suggests successful writers, the ones who sustain it, genuinely love writing. They'd do it even if they weren't paid. Success seems tied to that love, that trust in the creative impulse.
And the classic struggle, I don't have time to write.
He thinks it's often less about actual lack of time and more about the fear and uncertainty of writing versus tasks with clear, immediate results.
Like doing the dishes or answering emails gives you that quick hit of accomplishment. Writing, not always.
Exactly. The payoff is often delayed, internal, uncertain, and that can feel scary compared to ticking off a to-do list.
Then there's the big one, fear of failure.
Which the book argues is often just an obsession with failure disguised as wanting success. Failure and success.
Yeah.
They're not real things out there in the world. They're just labels, definitions we impose, like lines on a sports field meaningless after the game.
And this fear messes with how we see opportunities and even suffering.
Yeah. Opportunities appear when you're open, curious, believing they're possible, like finding your keys when you trust they're somewhere. And suffering, that creative discomfort we talked about, it's not punishment, it's just guidance. Wrong way. Adjust here.
What about needing evidence? Likes, reviews, sales figures, proof that your work matters.
Kenower's pretty direct. You don't need external evidence. Your own love, your own interest, that's the only evidence required while you create. That's enough validation.
Because the outside world often just reflects your inner state. If you
Yeah.
write needing proof, you might just find reasons to doubt.
Right. Whereas if you write from love and trust, the external stuff might follow, but it's a side effect, not the goal. You are the primary evidence that your work is worthwhile simply because you're compelled to create it.
Wow. Okay, this leads to maybe the biggest leap in the book. Living like you write.
Yeah, applying these principles beyond the page,
Yeah.
recognizing you exist in like multiple realities at once. There's the outside world, the facts, and then there's your internal world, thoughts, imagination.
And your experience of reality is shaped by how you feel.
Yeah,
And feelings come from thoughts.
exactly. Thoughts build momentum, create feelings. Just like you can flow towards love or fear when writing, you do it in life too. So be deliberate. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself about things. Use that internal compass discomfort all day long.
So you can become the author of your own experience by choosing your focus, your interpretation.
That's the idea. He uses that great example of working with Sawyer on the school project. Instead of judging his son's frustration, he sort of mirrored it, joined him in that feeling space.
Meeting reality where it was, not fighting it.
Right, and that opened up connection, new possibilities, instead of conflict.
And understanding that feeling lost or those quiet periods after finishing something big, They're not failures either.
No, they're just natural cycles. That quiet isn't necessarily sadness. It might just be waiting for the next story, the next impulse to arrive.
Living like you write means trusting those cycles. Trusting things will emerge if you stay present.
Whether you're at your desk or just, living your day.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The core message isn't about never feeling fear, is it?
No, not at all. It's about understanding confidence isn't out there somewhere, it's in you already.
And trusting your internal guides, feelings, curiosity, love for the thing itself, more than waiting for external permission or applause, especially during the creative act.
Yeah, focusing on the process, bringing that felt sense onto the page from that place of inner confidence and genuine interest.
And realizing these aren't just writing tips, they're potentially life principles for authoring your own experience.
Absolutely, it goes way beyond the page.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on, based on all this. If your reality, your experience of life, is shaped by how you feel, and your feelings are driven by the thoughts you focus on, the stories you tell yourself, then what kind of reality are you choosing to create right now, today, both in your writing and just in your life, by deciding where you put your attention?